Multiple sources are reporting that Showtime Boxing has recently released the pay-per-view numbers for the Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant Undisputed Super Middleweight Unification title fight from this past weekend's pay-per-view showdown. 800,000 units were moved, which is a fantastic number, especially for PBC. Now we got to remember, guys, the Premier Boxing Champions PBC and Al Heyman has done work with Fox as well as Showtime, but the number of, as far as stable and fighters, not everybody has made it to pay-per-view. We've had Deontay Wilder, Earl Spence Jr., Tank Davis, and of course, most recently, Manny Pacquiao. But when we look at the numbers, we got to also remember, boxing was going head-to-head with the UFC out of New York on the Usman's pay-per-view showdown. Dana White, for many years, has always tried to underhand and undermine anything that boxing does when he goes toe-to-toe with boxing and he puts his UFC brand front and center stage. Now, we got to remember also, guys, Canelo Alvarez has not fought on pay-per-view since fighting Gennady Golovkin. In his first fight and second fight, he sold respectfully 1.3 million as well as 1.1 million, but both fights were on HBO pay-per-view. HBO is no longer around. Now, mind you, DAZN, which is obviously a monthly streaming platform that you pay $20 a month, has mentioned that, hey, in order for them to make big fights here in the future, they may have to compete and they may have to, as far as consider a pay-per-view platform to put some of the biggest fights together. Now, when Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury in all three fights, they went from selling 500,000 pay-per-views, 600,000, 300,000, and the numbers didn't really do all that good. Now remember, guys, when Wilder fought Fury, it was a two-network deal, which was ESPN combined with Fox. Canelo Alvarez didn't have any of that. They were simply pushing Showtime. Now remember, Canelo carried this pay-per-view on his own. The die-hard boxing fans, everybody knows who Caleb Plant is. He has an incredible story. Like my boy, a.k.a. Jose Rene, a.k.a. the Boxing Prophet, always says, boxing is always about the story of the fighters. And in this case, it resonated with boxing fans as well as casuals. But let's just be honest, Canelo Alvarez is the king, the cash cow, the king of boxing, boxing's best pound for pound. But one thing to look forward to is that in the future, Cinco de Mayo has always been known to sell more pay-per-views. But remember, we're in a pandemic. They sold this amount in the wintertime, closer to the holidays. And again, going against head-to-head with the UFC. Now, if Canelo Alvarez were to increase, or rather choose better opposition in his next bout, and Canelo himself has said he's not going to fight until May 2022. And it's only because he needs his body to rest. 2021, he's fought close to 3-4 times throughout the year. He needs a little bit of a rest, guys. Now remember, if he were to fight fighters like David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, guys that have a little bit bigger fan base that can generate more pay-per-view buys, that number could well exceed over 1 million, but it's big business altogether. This is the first time that Canelo Alvarez has worked with Al Heyman, and Canelo Alvarez has came out and said that Premier Boxing Champions has treated him very, very good. Remember, another key factor to this is the amount of money that was guaranteed for both fighters. Canelo Alvarez came in making a career high $40 million guaranteed for his unification with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant made a career high of $10 million guaranteed. But at the end of the day, they also get bonuses and back end based on pay-per-view sales. Canelo Alvarez has TV rights with Mexico, with TV Azteca Televisa. Also gets money from his sponsorships with Hennessy. You know, it could be well in the 9 figures, meaning that Canelo Alvarez could easily walk away with $60 to $70 million, which of course Caleb Plant is rumored to make close to 17 to 18 million. You also have to look at the ticket sales. The ticket sales over this weekend reached close to $18 million. Now, mind you, Canelo Alvarez has made history twice within this year of 2021. He shattered the record for the attendance record in Dallas, Texas in May on Cinco de Mayo, selling over 73,000 tickets generating close to $10 million. But in Vegas, everything is bigger. The crowds are smaller, but the money is bigger, selling close to $18 million. He was the first Mexican super middleweight champion in the history of boxing, becoming undisputed, winning all 4 titles, and was the first boxer in history to do so as well. So we got to look at that, and we have to keep that in mind. People will always pay up in order to see history, whether it's you're going to the fight or whether you're paying to see it on pay-per-view, because he's gone close to 3 years without fighting on pay-per-view. So it's yet to be determined what he's going to choose next. Again, he loves working with Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing out of the UK, which of course they have the streaming platform. But he also loves working with Al Heyman, and that's the beauty about being a free agent. You can pick and choose what it is that you want to do. But another interesting factor is, what if Canelo goes to ESPN? What if PBC renews their contract with Fox? Those are just bigger channels, bigger networks that could really, really put, get closer to the masses as far as casual fans, boxing fans, and put all the eyes on boxing. And that's the beauty of it. My question to you guys is, who do you guys want to see next for Canelo Alvarez? Is it Triple G? Do you guys want to see David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo? Do you want to see Canelo Alvarez challenging himself, moving up to 175 to challenge the champion Arthur Beterbiev? Or do you want him to challenge Dimitri Bivol? You guys decide. Again, it's your boy Jim and Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, signing off.